Man, I can think of few controllers that just feel so right in my hands. And this is comfort right here. So hey, this is Kevin from CGRundertow, and today we're checking out the original Super Nintendo controller, the SNS-005. So with the release of the Super Nintendo in 1991 in North America, they of course unveiled their new controller design. A pretty big step up from the original NES controller, which we have one right here. So it looks similar. It's got, same shape of D-pad with the, the classic arrows on there. Select and start are mostly in the same place, and your buttons on the right. But the main thing here is they introduced a lot more buttons. So you've got B and A and Y and X with some concave action there, and it's in a diamond shape, so it's kind of easy for your thumb to move around and access all the buttons or combine button presses fairly easily. A little bit more tricky with this. You had to kind of tilt your hand around to do that, or use your thumb like that. But yeah, that was a big change. And of course the shoulder buttons were a huge deal, because you could still press those at the same time as pressing all these other ones. There's all sorts of new combinations that you could have with those. And another big difference was in ergonomics. So this Super Nintendo controller is much more comfortable to hold with the rounded ends there. Now this is very blocky. So as you can see, this can really, dig into your hands as you're holding it. If you're, playing an intense round of Mega Man, you're really gripping it. You can hurt your hands pretty easily. But this thing is just, this feels good. And we should also check out the controller cord. The Super Nintendo controller cord is much longer than the Super Famicom controller cord. I don't know if you watched my review of that, but you'll notice it's quite a bit shorter. So it's great that they increase the length for that. And then here's the jack. So you've got kind of a 4-pin, 3-pin division. So that's kind of nice. It's easier to tell, which end to plug it in on your Super Nintendo. So if you go like, 3, 4, oh wow, there you go. So very easy to plug in. So this is easily one of my favorite controllers of all time. And it's kind of interesting how they went from this to this. I mean, the N64 controller is crazy. It's definitely very ergonomic, and I'll get into that later, but I really prefer this one. It's just so simple, easy to use, and maybe it's growing up with it that has something to do with that, but this is definitely one of my favorite controllers of all time. The Super Nintendo SNS-005 controller. Yes! Blah! Blah!